What's up, guys? All right, so I got the 110 home and got it in the garage and just been kind of assessing it. Got some parts in for it. At first, I did a little rundown and thought I had tallied up. Like I said, I paid $300 for this, and I thought I had tallied up to where I could get it running for $100. Not running, but rideable for $100. And then another $100, I can make it look pretty nice, and that'd be good for a while. After checking it out, that probably isn't going to happen. So, first thing I noticed was this throttle cable, which you can see is in really rough shape. No big deal, $10. I grabbed one of those. Next thing was there's no brake cable attached at all. So I ordered a brake cable. You can see it's in the bag. I ordered this brake cable from Motion Pro, and I went to attach it. And here's the perch. But the threads were too big for the cable. So then I started looking, and I thought, well, duh, there's an adjuster that goes right here. Well, sadly, this adjuster that goes right here with the little lock nut is $25 from Kawasaki, which I think is absolutely crazy. So I haven't ordered it yet. I'm going to scour my garage and see if I have it. It's a 7mm. I'm going to scour my garage and see if I have anything that will fit it. And if not, I'm going to try to order just some, like I've seen some universal. You get the perch, the lever with the adjuster in it for like $6 or $7 on eBay, some just cheap Chinese stuff. I'll go that route if I have to. I really don't want to pay $25 just for that little adjuster. I think that's crazy. But yeah, so there was that. That was the front. And you can see somebody's painted those bars, which is kind of whack. That doesn't look too awful bad. But it looks like on the plastic, somebody's tried to like do that trick where you shave them and shine them up or whatever. I don't know. Doesn't look very good. The side number plates, I don't know if you can see in the camera, but they've been painted with house paint, which is really lame. Like I said, it starts up like first kick. I mean, and I even played with the carb a little bit and seemed like I had it idling okay, but you can't really tell much about these motors until you can actually run them. So let's move to the rear wheel. Now, this hub cover was actually on here when I got the bike. So there was no rear brake rod here, which I ordered. And I thought, okay, just a rear brake rod. I needed the spring and the little nut it goes on and the wing nut to secure it. So I ordered that, and I take the wheel off, and I'm looking at stuff, and I take the hub off and realize there was no freaking brake pads inside it at all, which is just mind-blowing. They didn't tell us that. It had the wrong bolt connecting this rod to the hub. No nut there, so had to order that. But probably my biggest issue is this hub. I'm going to put this on a stand and take the wheel off and show you. Alright, for any of you guys that watched my DR video, what happened to my rear cushion drive hub on my DR 650, literally the exact same thing has happened to this. Supposed to be a bearing right here. You can tell they let it wear out. Actually, when I got the bike, they had a brand new bearing sitting here. I couldn't see any of this. It was all put together. So I thought, oh, okay, maybe they replaced them. Well, no, they've let this wear out at some point and just had a bearing laying in here, and that's probably not going to work. This is shot. It's to the point where this aluminum from the hub is actually like wallered, mushed all up around the sprocket, and you'd probably have a heck of a time just trying to get the sprocket off to replace it anyway. So I'm just going to order this hub. I've already got a new sprocket. I'm going to try to find some nuts because these are destroyed. But this hub was another like $50 or $60. It's like, and I found out I was in this thing for another $100. So, but I definitely, on these KLX110s, you definitely don't want to skimp on the rear wheel setup at all. Because if it's got the least bit of play in it, you can end up ruining a wheel or your collars and stuff really easily. So I also had to order both collars for either side of the wheel. So another issue I ran into was was taking this cover off to replace the front sprocket, and we found this. This is where actually this sprocket cover mounts with the screw. At some point somebody has broke it off. More than likely they let the chain get thrown. It's really close to having went through the case, but it doesn't seem to have went through the case. So that's a bummer. We still have the piece. We found it in there. So I'm going to try to like JB weld it right there or something crazy just so it's there. But that was definitely a close one. If I'd have pulled that off and found a busted case, basically this whole project would have been a wash. So yeah, that was a close one. So basically, I'll show you the parts I've got in for it so far. I've got both the new cables. Oh yeah, there was no chain tensioners on it, so I had to get 2 chain tensioners. I've got the rear brake spring, the rear brake rod, new wing nuts. Sunstar chain and sprockets with their Sunstar sprockets with a DID chain. There's my old chain. Another issue is this rear brake. They call that the rear brake cam. It's just a rod that goes through there. Whenever you hit the brakes, this turns enough to push the shoes up against the drum. It doesn't seem to want to move, so I'm going to throw this thing in the vise and spray some MPPL on it, maybe get some heat on it, try to get this thing where it's moving a little bit, and hopefully this thing's savable. Got a couple new bearings that they didn't install, so I've got 2 of my 3 bearings I need for the wheel. There's a cover that they spray painted at some point. But yeah, that's kind of where we are. So my next order, in the next couple days, I'm going to order some brake shoes, which I didn't know I needed until today. And I'm also going to order that hub, and I'm going to make a plan on a perch and lever setup that will work with that brake cable and get cracking on this thing. Basically all I can do right now is replace that throttle cable, which isn't stopping me from riding it anyway. So yeah, so I need to order some parts. The funds aren't there this week, but next week we will get this stuff in and get to cracking on this thing, and it should be rideable by then. And then we're thinking some plastics and cleaning some stuff up, and we're gonna do grips and just slowly try to make it something, you know, just a cool, reliable pitter to ride around on. Nothing crazy. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hit the bell. Give me a comment. Shoot me a like. Maybe even a sub. And peace out.